The format of tonight's meeting is to have a guest speaker share their experience, strength and hope on how the Alcoholics Anonymous programme of recovery is working in their lives for 15 to 20 minutes. Tonight we have had Will to share.
Thank you. Do you want my home group? Or?
Yeah.
It's Carlton Tuesday.
Carlton Tuesday. Cheers, mate.
Evening all, my name is William and I'm an alcoholic. And I haven't had a drink today, and that's the most important thing that I can share. But more importantly than that, I'd like to share that I hadn't wanted to have a drink today, and I have no desire to have a drink today. And I was just, before I begin, today hasn't been like a peaches and cream type day where I've been sitting on a beach looking at the waves. It's been through a lot of stresses and a lot of problems, and I still haven't had a drink, and I haven't punched anyone, and I haven't thrown anything, and I haven't lost my temper. And so Alcoholics Anonymous is working in this alcoholic's life. I love coming to meetings. I love coming here and seeing all the people. I know a lot of the people in this room, and what I see when I come to meetings is, when I first came to meetings, what I saw was a bunch of losers with nowhere better to go and a bunch of freaks. And I was basically thinking that there's something wrong with all of you, and you're lost on your way to church and all that sort of stuff. And today I realise that I'm looking at a room full of success stories, and I'm happy that I'm one of those success stories today. And I see people who are actually doing really well in their lives. And when I was first around and I was sitting in the rooms, I certainly didn't feel like a success story, but people told me that I was, and I was going to be one, and they were telling the truth. I started drinking when I was age 12. That's when I tell people outside the rooms that I started drinking when I was age 12, they're shocked. They're absolutely like, what the hell? I mean, how did that happen? But I think people in this room understand that by 12 I needed a drink. I was having a really tough time of life. Nothing ever seemed to work out for me. It was like, basically I always tell the story, it's like I'd go out first day I'd play cricket in my entire life, I'd walk out onto the cricket pitch and I'd stand up to bat and I'd think, what's going to happen is I'm going to be the best batsman the world has ever seen. I'm just naturally talented at this. I am the best. Not only that, but in maybe a year's time tops, I'll be captain of the Australian cricket team. This is what's going to happen. And then I'd get bowled out first ball and I'd crack it, throw the bat, walk off the pitch and never play cricket again. And in all honesty, I can look back on that and go, a kid going out there thinking he's going to be the next Australian captain, it is pretty much a kid's fantasy, that's no problems at all. The thing is that I honestly believed, and I was so upset that things wouldn't go the way I expected them to. And I always use that analogy because that's the sort of problems, that same problem, that kid walking out of that cricket pitch, we're expecting everything to work out for him, is the same problems that I face today. And, that sort of thing happened throughout my life up till I was 12, and I was constantly in trouble at school. I was spent most of my schooling in the hallway in disgrace. There was points where I'd be put behind a curtain and separated from the class because I was so disruptive. I was emotionally unstable, a target for bullies. I had no friends. I had no interest in class. I just wanted attention, and I was just disruptive. And so by age 12, my brother came around and he used to tell me stories about him and his mates, and they'd go out and they'd be chased through parks in St Kilda by cops and stuff like that. And he was only 14, but I'm not sure if the stories are true, it doesn't matter. But the fact is that I heard these stories and I've gone, yeah, it sounds like adventure, it sounds like fun, it sounds like friends, let's have some of that. And he said it all seemed to revolve around him getting stoned and pissed. And he said, do you want to try that? And I said, yeah. Why the hell not? I've got nothing else going on. And so I did. It turned out we had some bongs one night. And I can remember in hindsight what happened that night was such a significant moment. I remember sitting there in this room out in Ivanhoe, and basically I was sitting there with this friend of the family who was also at the back smoking bongs, and we were just basically throwing twisties at each other. And I was just enjoying that. And for the first time I looked back and I just felt cool. I wasn't trying to be cool. I didn't want people to think I was cool or anything like that. I just felt cool. And I felt okay. And that was the amazing thing. And I can see now that the difference between that moment and me when I was sober. Because when I was sober, I hated everyone. And I thought the feeling was mutual. And when I was stoned, I thought it was cool. Everyone's okay. I like you. You're friends. I agree with you. I don't want to fight. I have no problems being here. There is no better place to be than right here. But when I'm sober, it's sort of like, when's my life going to start? I had that constant restlessness, irritability and discontent as I know it today. And so basically it went on from that, the next weekend my brother came around again, we got stoned, and it went on a weekend basis until such a point when I was 14 years old I met a guy at school who smoked and drank every day, and so I hooked up with him and I started smoking and drinking every day. And I was basically a full-blown alcoholic by age 15. And I've been thinking about this recently, you'd do things like you'd go out every single day, you'd get up and you'd go out and you'd buy yourself like a gram of dope, right? Because that's where you started, your gram of dope. You go out and buy a gram of dope, it costs like $25 or something like that. Back in those days it did, I don't know what it costs these days, but if you've saved up if you waited 4 days, you'd have enough to buy 7. And then you could smoke 7, right? And you'd save yourself some money. But me and my brother never got around to that. We never made those, either we never did the math, but we also realised, that basically if we have to wait 4 days to get stoned, that means we don't get stoned today. That's not going to happen. We're getting stoned today, and we're going to take whatever we've got and we're going to grab what we need now. Not only that, if we've got 7, we're going to smoke 7. We're going to smoke 7 today. We're going to get stuck in. And we don't save, we don't plan ahead. It's just we've got some beer, we've got some bongs, well, let's get stuck in. And basically everyone's watching everyone else. It's like you've had more than me and all this sort of stuff. And we shouldn't count, until we all pass out. And basically that's how my life went. And in all honesty, there's a significant thing that basically I learned in Alcoholics Anonymous, is that thing of, if alcohol and drugs, they do this thing for you, that change and that need to just finish it and have it all and just get stuck in. So just this natural ability to smoke as much as you can until you just basically have to pass out. Then and it makes your life just so livable. It's not written on the bottle, but it should be written on the bottle. It says if it has this effect on you, more than likely it's also going to kill you. And also, if I'd gone back to myself when I was a teenager and shown them that on the bottle and said, if you keep doing this, you're probably going to die from it. It's probably going to fuck up your life and you are going to die. I still probably would have said, well, what else have you got? What, you want me to go back to being sober and being a loser and not having any friends and being alone and in trouble and all that sort of stuff? No way, man. I'll take my chances with the bottle. And that's what I did. Me and my brother, we ran amok, and I finished high school, God knows how. I didn't do very well out of it. And a significant change happened when I was 19 years old, and my brother died of a heroin overdose. And at that point, I wasn't doing heroin, but he was. And my father sort of stepped in, and he'd been sober in AA for a few years. And so he saw a window of opportunity and threw me through it. He basically, said, he sent 2 guys around to my house and said, you're going to AA tonight. I needed some money. I was going to go to court. And I said, please give me some money so I don't have to go to court. He said, all right. He blackmailed me into it. And I came to meetings for about 3 months when I was 19 years old, and I identified as an alcoholic. I understood what the people in those rooms were talking about. They told me to listen to similarities but don't ignore the differences, and I listened and I heard similarities, and I heard significant, deep similarities as to what these people were talking about, why they drank and what happened to them when they drank. And I didn't do anything about myself there. I just wandered around to meetings, told a few jokes, tried to be cool, and I went out and drank again. And I came back 2 years later, and at that point I was really messed up. And I came back when I was 21 and I was desperate and I needed help. And I said the magic words from the floor of Alcoholics Anonymous when I was about 6 days sober. I said, I need help. And those are the only 3 words you need in this group, in these meetings, I find, to get started, is basically, and someone came up and they helped me. And they said, they took me down to the deal. And they showed me in the deal, we're all guys, most of us probably down to the deal. I made it my home group for 4.5 years, and I loved it. I loved the rigid structure. I loved the fact that these guys were basically, if you want what we've got, do what we do. If you don't want what we've got, and you don't want to do what we do, then that's fine. But we're not, then But if you want what we've got, do what we do. That's basically the drill. And so I did that, and I managed to achieve 4.5 years of sobriety. And the thing is, I did steps, I did the service, I did the sponsorship, and I did all the good stuff, and I built a fantastic life sober. And I had no problems drinking, and I sort of all my friends knew I didn't drink. There was no temptation for me to drink. And I thought after 4.5 years of sobriety, I flew to London, and I thought, I'm super sober now. Well, I didn't think that. I just thought basically, I'll be okay. And when I got to London, I didn't have that structure around me. You know, I didn't have those meetings, I didn't have my sponsor, I didn't have all my friends, and I was on my own, and I ended up in a share house with a whole lot of party people. And 3 weeks later I was drunk. And that's one of the most significant things that I can share, is that even though, so at points in your sobriety, if you're new around, you're having a battle, I know, speaking from experience, there will get points in sobriety where things will become comfortable and you'll start to really enjoy sobriety. You won't think, oh, I'll probably never drink again. And, you know, that might be true, I'm not going to speak on that, but the fact is I can't do it without the help of these rooms. And the main thing I've always reminded myself is that footwork is the key, is that if I'm not doing the actions, doesn't matter how mentally and spiritually and emotionally well I'm feeling and all that sort of stuff, I can still pick up a drink. Because I busted many times in this fellowship, and the thing is that when I bust, it's not because I'm panicked and the world's on fire and, oh help, I just need a drink and oh, screw you all. It's just a mental switch. And if someone just offers me a beer, and 5 minutes earlier I would have said I'm never drinking again. Someone offers me a beer or something like that, I go, yeah, right. And I pick up a drink and I'm gone. And it took me 4 years to come back. And I came back and I was married and, you know, I was walking the streets of St Kilda, drunk at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, with nowhere to go. I didn't know where I was going. I just didn't want to go home. And I was out of beer, and basically that was the sort of life that I was living. I had a beautiful wife at home, and I had a lovely home to go home to, but I just didn't want to go home. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I always try to remember that image, because that's what I'll go back to. That's the way I drink. I drink to a point where I've just got no freaking idea of where I'm going or what I'm doing. And since I've come back into AA, they say it's tough to come back from a bust and come back from a period of sobriety or all that sort of stuff. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not here to argue that. All I can tell you is that just this program seems to work for me if I put in the actions. And those actions are very simple. It's a matter of I've just got to get to meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. I've got to find myself a sponsor and communicate with that sponsor. A home group is a very important thing, and you go turning up to a home group and having some service and becoming a part of Alcoholics Anonymous. Doing the steps and getting in touch with a higher power, because anyone who's read that, it's not here, but anyone who's read the big book, I'm sure, I think you guys are sitting around reading it before the meeting, basically, and it says the aim of the game here is to get you in touch with a higher power who can relieve you of your inability to stop yourself from drinking and to make your life manageable. And that's the thing that I've got today, and that's the thing why I shared that thing when I first walked in, first started sharing, but it's that thing of no matter what happens today, my life is manageable. And some days everything just goes to pot, and I believe me, I don't have to tell people, you know, it goes to pot and everything just goes screwed up. But I don't go running to the bar, and I don't go losing my temper, or actually no, sometimes I do lose my temper, it's very true, I fucking lose my temper, let me tell you. But the thing is, I have tools in order to navigate through life today. And in actual fact, just by staying sober, my life has completely changed. When I came in here, I'll be 3 years sober in about a week. But when I first came in here, I was sort of wandering around, and I had no job, and my marriage was on the rocks. And the only thing I had to do at the end of every day was drink. And I was back in that place of hating the world and full of stress and anxiety and problems, and I had nothing going on. And I would drink till 3 or 4 in the morning, and for no reason at all, on my own, and think that this is okay. And I'd get up and hide the bottles the next morning. And I'd pretend my wife didn't know. And I came back into Alcoholics Anonymous because I went out one night, and I went out for 2 drinks, and I stayed out like once again 6 o'clock in the morning, ran amok, got thrown out of 2 clubs, went nuts at a Souvlaki bar guy, and basically ended up driving around in a taxi looking for a party. And I went out for 2 drinks, and I woke up and I realised I have no control over my drinking once I start to drink. And I am an alcoholic. I cannot control and enjoy my drinking. And it's hard to come in here and think that I'm never going to drink again. How the hell am I going to go to parties? How the hell am I going to go to weddings? How the hell am I going to deal with these people that I don't like? And the answer is you just can, in my experience. It's sort of like, I don't need to drink today. There's nothing that alcohol is going to give to me that I can't do sober. Like, I'm not going to be any more popular. No one's going to like me more. No one's going to offer me a job. No one's going to give me more money. No chick's going to fall out of the sky and start saying, "Gee, well, you're looking good," somehow I'm thinking that's going to happen. It's like, basically, what happens is that when I start to drink, I just get drunk. And I get drunk and I lose control, and then I lose control of my behaviour and I embarrass myself, and I've got to try and find my way out of it the next day. But today when I'm sober, I'm married. I'm still married to that same woman. I have a job. I'm actually succeeding in that job. I have a lot of friends. I'm living the life that I actually wanted to live. I rode a 24-hour mountain bike race last weekend. I had a cracking good time. Once again, things went wrong. Things went haywire, but I still kept going. And I'm about to leaving for Europe in a couple of days' time to go, and I'm going to Germany. Then I'm going up to Scotland to visit a friend of a woman whose autobiography I'm writing. And then I'm going to go see family and stuff like that. And I'm going to behave well. And at times, I'm going to get shitty. I am, believe me. And I'm going to get shitty, and I'm going to get upset with people, and things aren't going to go my way. I'm going to get angry, and I'm probably going to snap at someone. And that's probably going to happen because I'm a human being. But in actual fact, instead of going into the self-pity and all that sort of stuff, I'm going to find my way out of it because I've got a program and I've got a higher power that's going to see me through it. That's what I believe. I could be proved wrong, believe it. But, there's so much about this program that I'd love to share with you guys. But I think the only way to learn what's going on here is just to do the footwork and just keep at it. The thing is, they say that selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of our problems. And that idea that basically, that kid on the cricket pitch, always look back at him and go, that kid on the cricket pitch, and just smile, because the problem with him is that he's going out there and making demands on the world. He is saying that everything should go entirely the way he expects it to go, and if it doesn't, then he's going to get upset. And that happens today. Maybe not to that ridiculous extent, but that thing of sort of like someone doesn't, turn up to work and this thing's broken and that person's not here, and oh my God, it's just buggered, and it always happens to me, and why does this happen to me? In actual fact, I turn up to work today, if I just go in there and go, this is the way it's supposed to be, and I'm sort of supposed to deal with it, then, that's the way life should, that makes life a whole lot easier. And if I have a problem with that, I can take it upstairs. But, it's a true thing. I'm a very grateful member of Alcoholics Anonymous. My journey has been I shouldn't be standing here today. I should be drunk in the gutter, and I'm not. And I've got a lot of good stuff going on, and it's really thanks to guys in this room who put up with guys like me. And listen, I haven't got much more to share with you guys. I'm just grateful to be here, and thank you for letting me share.